Welcome to the Cassandra Terry Morning Show. Cassandra Terry, the mindset coach and founder of Manifesting Miracle Makers, rounded up her LinkedIn family once again. First, we've got Brian Smart, Mr. Content and Dadpreneur. He's striking the perfect balance between raising his youngest daughter and creating masterful content. Next, meet Denise Annalise Spiller, the gig expert and relentless traveler and writer. She turns every gig into an adventure. Then there's Jay Pasquale, the storytelling strategist, a poet and voiceover artist. He's weaving tales that'll make you think, laugh, and maybe even change your perspective. Get ready for a show filled with wisdom, inspiration, and the magic of family. Let's welcome Cassandra Terry and the rest of the fam.
Hello. Welcome to a new week. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Cassandra Terry Morning Show. I don't know about you guys, but I'm so happy to be here. I'm excited to be back with everyone. Had a beautiful, long, restful weekend, and I'm just now kind of sliding off of my digital detox and back into the real world. So it's been a blessing. It's great to see another year. I think the skin is holding up okay for 56 years of wrapping me and keeping me warm. So year 56 is in full effect, and I expect it to be the best one yet. I am loving life. I'm excited to be here. I'm surrounded by you guys, beautiful people who show up and support me and the show, all the different things that I have going on. So how could I not be excited, right? How could I not be happy? You guys are such a big part of that experience. So thank you for being who you are and showing up the way that you do. I had so many well wishes over the weekend. When we go down to the coast, our connectivity is really bad. So it wasn't planned, but it worked out beautifully that I didn't have much of a choice but to detox. As long as we were home, there was very little activity. It was quiet. And then when we would drive downtown, all of a sudden our phones would just bing, bing, bing. All the messages would start to come in. So we certainly had a lot of time to rest and relax. Great food. Did some shopping even before I left town. So I'm a little more sparkly than even usual. And great, did I say great food? Oh my goodness. We found some new places while we were there. Enjoyed every bit of it, met some new people, went for massages, and then we capped it off on my birthday night with a bonfire at the lake, just the two of us. So it was magical. It was great. Just not a whole lot of much, a lot of nothing, and just relaxing. And I needed that so much. So when your body is calling for it, find it. You may not have the opportunity to get away because life keeps us tied to our surroundings quite a bit. But even if it's just a few minutes for some deep breaths, even if it's just a few minutes for a cat nap to recharge your battery, watching your favorite movie, anything, whatever feeds your soul, going for a walk. I was reminded, I talk about it all the time, but it's something else to break away from your environment and really to be able to live it. And it has changed my mind about a lot of things. I know how much R&R I really want. I know how much time to myself I want, and I know what it is important for me to focus on. Couldn't have been clearer than it was last week. So now what I'm putting out into the atmosphere, what I am praying about, the conversations that I'm having with my God about are about moving those experiences into expanding them so that it's more my reality on a much more regular basis. So, when you hit those birthdays, 56 isn't a milestone, right? Doesn't end with a 5 or with the 0. So it wouldn't be considered a milestone birthday. But anytime you have the opportunity to reflect, a part of that reflection should be, how does my life look now? How would I like for it to look? What would I like to see different over the next year, right? So that you can have the opportunity to start to create those spaces for yourself, to create that reality. We are often not hitting the target because we haven't identified what the target is. So the more clear we can get, the more assured we are of what we want our lives to look like, the better decisions we're going to make, because that is going to be in the forefront, that desire. And when that desire is in the forefront, your decision making, the choices that you make, the way that you show up will start to align with that new desired reality, so that you can start moving closer and closer to it. It's just like everything else. So I have not done a new vision board in a while. I'm looking at the ones that I have. A lot of those things are in the rearview mirror now. I've done them, I've found them. Some of them are not nearly as important. Some of them were, I've got a beautiful car on there. Don't care so much about that anymore. I love the fact that I don't have a car note, that mine still looks good and gets me from point A to point B. That's a level of maturity on my part. The material things are not as important as they used to be. Have not having that debt and being able to get up and go and enjoy my life is a bigger, that's more important now than it used to be, because I didn't think about those things as moving me away from that freedom. And now I do, right? So some of the things on the board are not as important. There's a couple things I need to get back to. So it's great to be able to look and see. I have one of just activities and things that I want to do. And then I have one about a state of mind. And it's all about peace and a joyful life and self love and gratitude. It has vulnerability across the top. I think I'm nailing that one. I show up and take my skin off for you guys every day, right? And it talks about secure, being secure, the things that are important that gives me that inner peace. So, in order for you to know what your peaceful state looks like, in order for you to know what it is that you want out of the remainder of your life, you have to spend that time with self and really reflect. Reflection is a beautiful thing. And a lot of times it'll surprise you. Things will come up that you didn't expect. I got some clarity that I wasn't even looking for, just because I was still and I was quiet and there wasn't the hustle and bustle of a normal day moving from this activity to that activity. It just allows some things to come up for me. And when I recognize them, I'm like, okay, we're changing. Year 56 is moving in a little bit of a different direction than I've been moving in before. And that's exciting. Clarity for me is exciting because it allows me to make good decisions that are going to keep me happy and at peace and, secure. That's a big word for me. So I wish that for all of you. I pray that. I hope that for each of you, that you take the time to get that clarity, so that you are moving towards the life that really matters to you. Sometimes we're moving towards things because there was a point in time where they were important, like the car. I mean, that's probably a 80, 80 to $100,000 car. I don't think so. I don't want $100,000 worth of debt
Like,
at
okay,
in
okay,
my life. Unless, what'd you say,
sure,
Brian?
sure. Just in case.
Brian, were you? Oh, okay. I think he was talking
Yeah,
to
that
me.
was an accident. Sorry.
No problem. So when I said $90,000 car, I thought he said, "You what?" I thought he was jumping on me.
I heard it. I heard it when you said. My ears perked up.
It's a beauty, but you know, the only way that's gonna happen is if I'm able to go in there and buy it outright and drive it off the lot is mine. But $100,000 worth of debt for a car at my age, no thank you. I'd rather buy another property and have an asset that's helping me move towards my goals. So my goals have changed. What's important to me has changed. And you'll find some of that same stuff. Hey Bree, hey beautiful girl, have a blessed day at school. You'll find some of those same things for yourself when you get a chance to reflect. Oh my goodness, look at those ponytails. Your hair is beautiful. She is such a cutie. So give yourself that time, give yourself that opportunity whenever you can, because over time, me and my girlfriend were talking about this last night, and I reflected either last week or the previous week on how much I don't spend time with my girls anymore because I'm just so busy, and how what that was really saying is that all the other stuff that I have going on is more important than my friendships. That's not the message I intend to send. But sometimes we have to back up and really look at what the choices that we're making, what they mean. We find time to do the things that are important to us all day, every day. Sometimes we don't because we haven't even figured out what's important to us. But when you are doing a thing, that thing should be the most important thing for you to do at that moment. If there are other things that are priority, why are you spending your resources doing whatever it is that you're doing? Reflection will help you realize that I don't care who you are, 24 hours in a day is all you get. And some of those, a quarter of them at least should be sleeping. So you have to be really wise in your decision making. You have to make the choices. You have to have the discipline that's going to move you from where you are to where you want to be. But if nothing else, I want you guys to understand today that the thing that you're doing at any point in time is the most important thing to you. If you can't say that, then you have to ask yourself, why am I doing this? And then it may be time to make an adjustment. Okay, I'm going to put that on the shelf because it would be way more important for me right now to do this other thing. That's what my real priority is. That's what's really going to help me accomplish the things that are important to me. But I think sometimes we forget that there's consequences for every action, right? And consequences are not always bad. There are good consequences. So we want to make the decisions that are going to bring us those good consequences, which in turn will move us towards the life that we desire. That's how we transform. We start with the renewing of our minds, and then we allow our choices, our decisions, the things that we're doing with the precious resources that we have to align with that focus, align with the things that are important to us. Transformation will take place if you do that. I see quite a few of you guys have joined. Hello, Michael. Conchita says, Grand Rising. Thankful for another amazing day. You and me both, beautiful lady. Kim says, happy after birthday morning, all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is the last official day in the month of April, so I have to relinquish birthday celebrations today because my daughter's birthday is a month from today. So the month of May belongs to her. So I guess I'll have to get over myself. I've got the today and that's it. And then we transfer to Sierra. Sonia says, good morning, fam. Conchita says, hey, little pretty girl, Bree. She is a beautiful one and so much personality. So welcome, everyone. I am going to go ahead and share our quote for today because I obviously am already on a roll. And I do want to make sure we have some time to talk specifically about the quote and a couple things I have to share with you guys. So incredible change happens in your life when you decide to take control of what you have the power over instead of craving control over what you don't. Woo-wee. That's a mouthful. That is a mouthful. We're going to say it one more time for the people in the back a little louder. Incredible change happens in your life when you decide to take control of what you have power over instead of craving control over what you don't. I love that quote. Steve Maraboli or Maraboli, I'm not sure, but Steve hit it out the park when he said that one. I think it's Maraboli. We spend so much energy, time, focus, frustration, angst, anxiety over things that we have absolutely no control over. Wasted time, wasted energy, wasted emotion. If we would take all of that energy, all of that resource, and put it into the things that we can control, we would have so much more joy and so much more success in life. We would move towards our goals so much quicker. And you may say, well, Cassandra, what are those things? What can I control? Let's talk about it. I've shared this before, but it's been quite a while. So I thought I would share it with you guys one more time. So the center circle are the things that I can control. My responses to others' behavior, boundaries I set with others, how I let other people affect me, when I forgive others, when I give my time, energy, where I give my time, energy, and attention, and how I speak to, what does that say? How I speak to or treat others. Got it. How I speak to or treat others. And how I speak to, we're going to add some Cassandras to this list. How I speak to or treat myself, right? And then the things that we can't control how others feel, how others behave, how others react. We can't control if someone forgives us. We can't control the other people's boundaries, the beliefs, perceptions, or the perceptions of others, the attitudes of others. Can't control the things that are happening around me. I can't control what other people say. I absolutely, as much as I'd like to, cannot control what other people think of me. So, what I want you to understand really clearly about this graphic is the things that you can control are all you. The things that you can't control are all external to you. It's other people. You can have the best intentions in the world and someone take what you say or what your actions are and turn them into a negative. You can't control how clean or how dirty someone else's lenses are. But you can control, and you are responsible for controlling whether or not your lenses are clean. So if you walk around blowing up on people every time they mention a particular topic, that's a place in your life where you have some healing to do. The responsibility to get that healing rests right at your feet. It belongs to you. That's something that's within your control, right? If you get angry every time a particular topic comes up, that's a clue. Your emotions are letting you know that that's a place where you need to do some work. You need to do some healing. It's not enough to just say, well, that's how I always feel. They know that that's a place where I was hurt 15 years ago. Okay, I'm not going to say get over it because I never would. But what I am going to say is take a look at how you're processing it, what you've taken with you from that experience. Find your resilience, find your compassion, find the things that you can learn from that experience. One, so you don't go through it again. And two, so that it doesn't mar your present and your future. You've already had to deal with that thing. It has already traumatized you way back when. But it's up to you if you drag that trauma with you for the rest of your life. There comes a day where you can say, I've had enough. I'm going to forgive. I'm not going to excuse what happened was wrong. I'm not excusing it, but forgiveness is for me. And I'm untethering myself from this weight so that I can move forward more freely and I can enjoy my life more because I deserve that. What the other person deserves, what that situation deserves, again, outside of our control. But I can absolutely control what I'm dragging along with me. And when I figure out that I'm dragging something that's heavy and that's making life difficult, why wouldn't I figure out how to unshackle myself from that thing? It's a part of of the human experience. And if you want your experience to improve, you have to change some things that you're dragging with you, right? And that's your choice. But the overall point of this graphic is to understand that the things within your control are you, your behaviors, your reactions, your thoughts, your feelings. Those are the things that you can work with and actually change. Your mindset should be in the center circle, because once you change that, all the other stuff starts to fall. It's like dominoes. You tip one, and if they're close enough together, they all start to fall, right? So working on that mindset gives you the opportunity to improve in the rest of that circle. But I don't care what your mindset is. I don't care how brilliant you are. I don't care how beautiful you are. I don't care how rich you are. I don't care what your story is. You cannot change other people, not their perception, not their emotions, not how they show up. You can wish it for them, But until they decide that they're going to do something about their behavior, there's not a whole lot you can do besides set your boundaries. This is what I'm letting in, and this is what has no room in my life, and draw that hard line. And then you act accordingly. And the people who matter to you will respect you within your boundaries. Those are the people that should matter, because those are the people who truly care by their actions, not just by their words. We have all these litmus tests. They give us all this data, but most of the time we ignore the data and keep craving the things that are out of our control. So, incredible change happens in your life when you decide to take control of what you do have power over instead of craving control over what you don't. So I know Brian is getting Bree settled, Jay. So I'm going to kick it over to you, and then when Brian, whenever you're available after Jay, we'll have you share, and then I'll have some actionable steps for folks to take to wrap up our time today. So with that, over to you, Jay.
Thank you, Cassandra. You know, one of the first things I thought about, and I'm going to be fully transparent with the audience, is up until the Cassandra Terry morning show, I really didn't dive deep like I should into my Bible.
Mm,
Full honest. And it's been several years. Now, if you had asked me a few years ago after the tornado if I did, man, I had two Bibles just so I could have access to it. And it took a tornado, oddly enough, and divine enough to get me straight.
mm,
But then, as some years passed by, I strayed away again. And I think, my story is not unique, right? There are many of us who stray away and who don't give glory to God.
mm-hmm.
And I surely was in that number, sad to say. But the more I started to consider how far I've come, the more I decided I needed to get back to where I needed to be, and that was in the good graces of God. And because I kept saying to everybody, don't let a tornado transform your life.
Mm,
Don't let outward circumstances change your life. Take control. And this quote right here says it straight to me. This always happens. And it's that divine harmony I've been talking about lately, how this all keeps coming into play. You know, I joked before, every time you talk, I think you're talking to me and I feel called out.
I be stepping on your
But
toes. I'm sorry, bro.
it's all good. It's all good. That means that means my toes are not going to be stretched out in the right direction. So, I think that's what I'm gaining from that quote today and what you've been talking about. And I'm gonna say something a little bit later after this, but I'm gonna read the scripture,
Okay.
and I think the scripture that's appropriate today is Luke. chapter 15, verse 21. The son said to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. But the father said to his servants, Quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate. For this son of mine was dead and is alive
Mm.
again. He was lost and is found. So they began to celebrate. And see, this is really true transformation. It's the transformative power of repentance,
Mm.
forgiveness, right? And
Mm-hmm.
reconciliation. And so I needed to repent. I needed to get back into good graces. I also needed his forgiveness. And I
Mm-hmm.
also needed to forgive myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that's a tough one. That really is a tough one. You have control over it though. That's the thing. And we don't, you know, sometimes we tend to point outwardly at all the things that's wrong with everything else that's affecting me, when really there are things that we have in our control that we can actually bend the needle in the right direction towards. And so that's what I'm thinking about. I really do. It's not like I haven't been there before, and I have. And it took a
Mm-hmm.
tornado to get me there. This time, I'm not waiting for an outward force. And I'm not trying to point the fingers at something that's outward that says to me, "Oh yeah, it was because of that I'm this way."
Mm-hmm.
I have control over what I do, say, feel, think. Therefore, I can control those things.
That's right.
And lastly, about prayer and about the word and the gospel, I
Mm-hmm.
heard something recently that hit me to my core, and I said, "Ooh, that's a good one." If if we take the time to make sure that our devices are charged before we leave the house, then maybe we should recharge our spiritual batteries
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That one does hit
before
because
we
I'm
do anything.
maniacal about that. I get on my girls all the time.
Hmm.
I tell them they don't have device management skills like their mother does. Like I think it's just criminal for them for their batteries to be low. You got kids, you're female, you're moving around. I bought you all
Mm-mm.
portable chargers because it gives me a sense of peace knowing that if something's happening, they've got a phone there and they can reach out to get whatever help that they need, right? But in the spiritual, our real help, the real place, our real source of strength is God. So when we connect and we recharge our spirit, it places us in position to manage all those external things that are outside of our control. And it places us in position to make the right choices for those internal things that are very much within our control. Yeah, you said a whole word with that phone, brother. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. I am so
So,
maniacal about keeping my devices charged up. So that speaks right to my
so
soul.
right, exactly. So I definitely get it, but so the way I look at it is, if before you even swipe right, you better swipe up. So that's
Hmm.
it, Cassandra.
All right. Before you swipe right, swipe up. Get your alignment and your focus right. Because those devices, those external things have only so much real control. But when you know that you know that you know where your real charging, where your real source is, everything else will align accordingly. So yeah, that was good. That hit me right between that little shiny spot right there. You popped me. Knocked a little shine off me, Jay. That's good. That is really good. Thank you for sharing that. And I agree with Conchita. She said, powerful, powerful revelation, Jay. It takes a lot to be that transparent. Thanks for sharing. Good morning, Belinda, and my beautiful Aunt Karen, real estate agent extraordinaire. Thank you for being with us. Mo, I see you there. Love you, girl. I'm always excited when you can join us. Kim said, Jay, I think we all feel like that. I swear it. And the quotes and conversations always seem to apply to my current circumstances. That's the connection. Absolutely. Part of our prayer every morning before we get out here is that the message that you all need to receive flows through us. Not what we intended to say, not what we planned, not some clever little thing that may have come from us, but that you actually get the message that is meant for you so that you go forward in your day recharged, charged up, and ready to show up as the best version of yourself, ready to soak every bit of goodness out of this day, ready to leap over, crawl under, go around any obstacles that show up for you so that you are living this life, this gift of life, that you are living it to the fullest. It's the only one we get as far as we know, at least on this side. So make the most out of it. And showing up here and taking in. I had a room maybe last week, I can't remember, but the focus of the room, oh no, it hasn't happened yet. It's something that I've been talking about is when you come to events like this, when you read that great book, when you hear that wonderful sermon, when you're taking in information, you're getting motivated. But that's emotional, right? It gets you excited, it gets the emotion stirred up, it makes you want to do. But it's the discipline that takes the emotions and puts them into action. So you need them both. I've shared this quote with you, this research with you guys several times now, that 85% of people, when they hear the things, they go to the classes, they take the courses, they read the books, 85% of folks do absolutely nothing with that information, which is why it's so important for me to remind you guys to grab just one thing. Grab just one thing that you're going to implement today, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, but today. Because when you do that one thing differently, you're disrupting the pattern of the life that you're living right now. And when you disrupt that pattern, you give yourself the opportunity to have a different outcome, right? And that's what we're looking for. We don't want the same old, same old. We're looking to continue to evolve, continue to grow, continue to expand. I am so serious about that prayer of Jabez, expand my territory. But in order for my territory to be expanded and me not to squander that blessing, I have to be able to take good care of what I've been blessed with right now. And if you say, well, I haven't been blessed with anything, you've been blessed with agency over your life. What are you doing with that? Are you making good decisions with that? Are you taking care of you properly? Because when you take care of you properly, then you're able to expand that to the next thing. Be it the right career, be it the next business, be it finishing that education, be it expanding a family. Take care of whatever it is that you have agency over right now, and practice those skills right now so that when the propelling happens, when the blessing comes, you are skilled, you are well versed, you are able to manage that blessing, right? What happens to a bridge with too much weight on it? It breaks, it buckles. And our blessings can be very, very weighty if we haven't built up the muscles to manage them. That's what life is. That's what your trials are. That's what those difficulties are. That's what that pace period is about. When it feels like you've been running for so long and you're not getting anywhere, you're not ready. You're supposed to be where you are so that you learn the lessons in this season, which will prepare you for the next. So ask yourself, what's the lesson? What am I supposed to be learning right now in this space, in this season of my life? Because when you learn that lesson, I can guarantee you that your circumstances are going to change. We repeat the same things over and over and over, rinse and repeat until we get that stain out. You got to find the stain. What do I need to prune away? What do I need to learn in this season? Now that I've pruned it away, what are the new skills that I need to add in so that I'm ready for my blessing, right? I am absolutely clear about one thing that I must get right before my territory expands. If it was to expand too quickly, if that phone call came right now, the weight of it would probably suffocate me and I wouldn't be able to manage the blessing. I know what I need to do. And until I get it done and not just do it once, but get that process built into my world properly, I'm not ready for the next level. I understand that. So I'm not bemoaning being in this pace period. I know my skills are being honed. I know I'm getting better. Man, we did that SOAR challenge last week. It blessed my soul. I know people got out of it good stuff because I had the feedback. I mean, major life changes happened. But what happened to me was I cut some new teeth. I learned how to present differently. I learned how to take my knowledge and break it down over several days. Well, what does that sound like? That sounds like workshops and seminars and training, the types of things that I dream about. Now they're happening in small bites so that I can be ready for that vision that I had as a little girl. Seeing myself standing with a microphone in what looked like a stadium to me, I have 100% assuredness that that vision that the little girl in me had is being manifested in my life right now. The crowd is smaller, the venue is smaller, but it's happening every day so that when those lights come on, and the name is introduced and I walk out on that stage and the room is filled with, not just because I feel like I know all of you guys. We've been doing this for a while. So when you show up, it's like, okay, the family's here for supper. Let's turn on some music. Let's have a good time. Let's enjoy the family. There will be a time where I won't recognize the majority of the faces that are in the crowd. And the knees may be a little wobbly, the voice may be a little shaky, but all of those things are being rooted out every single day. This is all preparation for the next. Do you see your life that way? Do you see the mundane? Do you see the tedious? Do you see the things that you're doing over and over and over again that are so frustrating? Do you understand that that is you getting the skills, the discipline, the process, the whatever it is to prepare you for the next? You don't want to go to the next unprepared. Imagine, I just think about 2 years ago, landing on that stage and the lights going up. I literally may have passed out. I just overwhelmed and fearful, may have lost consciousness. Not today. I sit in those crowds and I listen to the people that I admire, and I want so bad to be able to get up there with them and grab the microphone and we riff and we talk about whatever it is that there is the topic because I feel ready. I feel that I can do it. I've been talking about the same stuff for quite a while. My skills are growing, so it's not as intimidating. Your life is no different. Whatever it is, whatever your vision is, understand that something that is going to prepare you for the realization of that vision is happening in your life right now. And it's probably the thing that's driving you crazy, giving you the most frustration. It's teaching you something. And when you realize that, you can look at it so differently, and be not, not, and be not as frustrated and overworked and overwhelmed. Understand that you're in training camp, right? Understand that you're in boot camp, right? But repetitive. If sometimes it feels like you're not in control of your own life, that's what boot camp's like, right? Those soldiers have absolutely no control. They can't even control what they're called. They may not even be called by their name as they're going through that, the name that their mother gave them. They have to submit, and they have to go through the process, and they come out on the other end different people, ready to serve a whole country. I'm just asking you to figure out what your boot camp is so that you're ready to serve your piece of the world with your gifts, because we're waiting for them. I know that there's an audience that's waiting for me. I don't know who they are. I may never know who they are, but they're coming. They're being prepared as I'm being prepared. These divine downloads are not for nothing, right? There is a process that's beyond my view that I'm slowly walking into. But if I run into it, I may miss some of my boot camp and get to the other side and can't manage some of the things that are required to be successful in that space. Look at those frustrating things and realize that they're training ground for your level up. And it'll change how you're experiencing your life. It's an important reframe. Sonia says, I truly agree. It's like message is all like it's like the message is always directed towards me. It's directed towards all of us. When I tell you everything that comes out of my mouth, 99% of the time, I'm like, oh Lord, I hear you, because I'm a work in progress. I will never be done until I'm absolutely done. And there is no more me on this side of the earth. While I'm here, I am being refined, reformed, right? Reinstated, retrained. All of those things are happening all the time because we're growing, we're developing, we're moving towards our next. And so I don't get quite as frustrated about some of the things that used to absolutely drive me crazy, because I understand it's all a part of the process, and it all will make sense when I look back on it. And it's all training ground for where I'm going next, wherever that is. Marie Ryerson, I see you there. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's great to have you join us. Let's see. I'm going to greet a couple more people, Brian, and then I'm going to send it over to you. Hello, mother. She said, good morning, fam. Let's see. Look at my niece, Bridget. Hey, girl. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Love you. Always good to see you. Maisie, one of the most amazing women I know. Lovely that you are with us. Give Greg a hug for me and a fist pump for Tim. My mom also said, preach, Jay. And she said, yes, speak, daughter. Yes, ma'am. I'm going to do the best I can with what I have. So let's see. Brian, are you in a position where you can unmute and share?
Yes.
Awesome. Love to hear from you, brother.
So I'm hearing everything you guys are talking about this morning, transformation. But the one thing that keeps sticking out to me is preparation.
Ooh, okay. Bring us another P.
Preparation.
I like it. Preparation.
Right, because we always talk about transforming, but before you can transform, you have to get ready. You can't just transform. A butterfly doesn't just become a butterfly. There's certain stages that it has to go through, right? In order to get to that phase of being able to fly, that phase of being able to soar, right? You don't start flying. You gotta crawl and you gotta walk. Some of us don't crawl. Some of us decide we're gonna walk first. But once hey, I do, then you have the opportunity to start preparing. Don't think that the moment you get that idea in your head, I want something better for myself, that it's gonna transmute itself that very moment. It just doesn't work like that. You gotta prepare. You gotta prepare yourself. Right. You gotta prepare yourself for the blessings that you want. If you don't do that, how do you expect to be able to maintain them? Right?
That's right.
Everybody always talks about having all this money and doing all of this stuff. Let me tell you, man, It's a lot harder than you think it is. Everybody wants this multi-billion-dollar corporation. Are you really ready to run a multi-billion-dollar corporation? Really? Right? Everybody wants to be this prolific writer. Are you really ready to start doing tours and taking on all these engagements and talking to all these people? Is your mind ready for that? Have you attuned your spirit to be able to talk to people in a way that doesn't make them feel small, even though you're the author, right? Have you started to prepare for that thing that you want? If you haven't started to prepare, then you can't expect God to send those things your way. You can't expect to attract what you're not ready for. That's what I've been hearing all morning. Get ready for your
Mhm.
blessing. You remember that song? Get
Yeah.
ready. Get
Ready
ready for your blessing.
for your
For
blessing.
your blessing.
Yep, I remember.
Okay. You got to get ready for it. You got to prepare for that transformation. That's all I wanted to say
That's
today.
right.
You hit me with that because we always talk about transforming, but we never talk about preparing. We never talk about the
Yep.
preparation. So
Right.
I love it. I love it. I
Lisa,
love it.
thank you. Lisa says, loving the convo, dropping gems as usual. And when you talk about the preparation, you're calling up the 4 P's again, Brian. So let me run through those for everybody. We do have some folks that are not normally with us, so I'm so happy for you guys to join us, and I'm always glad to see the faithful that show up on a regular basis. The 4 P's of self development and growth. That's something God gave me in my sleepy time when I was just waking up. The 4 P's. The first thing you have to do is prune. Get rid of the things that no longer serve you because now they stand between you and the life that you desire. It may be this wall you built to protect yourself because you were in traumatic situations, so you don't let people in as quickly. So the same as you're keeping the bad people out now, you're also keeping out love. You're trapping yourself in. So you got to brick by brick start to bring that wall down so that you're able to experience what this life has for you fully, right? What are you bringing with you? What are you holding on to? What habits, what mindset, what situations? What is it, right? That's holding you back. You have to prune those things away, just like removing the weeds from a garden. After you prune, you go to that stage that Brian was just talking about, preparation. You have made space for the new mindset, new habits, new learning, new environment, new people, whatever it is that you need to move towards your goals. Now in that preparation stage is where you do a good gap analysis, you do a good assessment and say, what am I missing? If I'm really going to have this thing, do I need to join a public speaking group? I did. When that public speaking group sprang up at my job, where what we really do is create widgets and software and stuff and sell it to corporations. When that public speaking group popped up, I was like, thank you, God. You are continuing to prepare me, giving me the opportunity to hone the skills for my next. I didn't say I don't have time for this because my schedule is so busy. I said, I'm going to find time. If I have to move some meetings around and adjust my schedule a little bit, I'm going to find time on a regular basis to participate in this because I know it's a part of my next. Don't miss your blessings. Don't miss those opportunities to grow. That's part of preparation, bringing in new habits, new skills, new ways of seeing things so that you're ready for the next. And then we go through that difficult period, the pace period. During that pace period, it seems like you're doing everything right and absolutely nothing is happening. But what's happening is beneath the surface. Those roots are growing and getting stronger so that you are able to withstand the fruit of that tree as it blossoms. You don't want your branches to be weak, that it drops everything that tries to grow. You don't want your roots to be so shallow that as soon as a little storm comes through, you fall over. So that pace period, it keeps you from defaulting back to those bad behaviors. During that pace period, you get a chance to practice day by day, step by step, choice by choice. I get to pick up the water instead of the Dr. Pepper. And if I do it long enough, my default will become the water and not the Dr. Pepper. So even when I'm stressed, even when I'm tired, I make a good choice for myself, not a choice that in the long run is going to make me feel worse. That's what that pace period is. Because today, if I get stressed enough, I may grab it. If I'm tired enough and I need to keep going, I'm going to tell myself, oh, I need that caffeine. I could get up and go for a walk and get the endorphins going and create that same sense of recharge. It comes down to making the right choice, making a good decision for myself, those things that are within my control. Pace period helps you to make those decisions over and over again so that they become your new default and you make those decisions no matter what's going on externally, right? And then there's propel. When propel happens, all of that, the pruning and the preparing and the pacing, everything has come together. You have graduated into this next level and you're prepared to handle it, right? You're not just getting this windfall that you don't know what to do with. You've been day by day, choice by choice, making the right decisions so that you know that you can manage this thing, even though it's bigger than anything you've ever taken on before. Bite by bite, choice by choice, step by step, day by day, you walk that thing out because you're prepared for it. Absolutely. Preparation is key. And it's important for you to understand at any point in time where you are in the cycle of those 4 P's. If it feels like everything's changing and things are being taken away from you, you can reframe that and go, I must be going through a pruning period. Thank you, God, that you're removing the things that don't serve me anymore, that don't help me anymore, that's going to stand between me and the blessing that you have for me. Thank you. It hurts to lose this person in my life, but I understand that the two of us together doesn't work. We make bad decisions. So now I'm free to create a new relationship, even if it's just with myself, so that those good decisions are made and I can start moving forward. If you feel like you're just taking in data over and over again, things are changing, new ways of thinking, you're in that preparing stage. You're getting the skills to move forward. And if you're in that woe is me, I can't believe that no matter how hard I've tried, nothing is changing, you're being paced. And you can be grateful in that phase, and instead of being frustrated, go, thank you, God, for growing these roots. I believe that you're growing them deep and you're growing them strong so that I'm able to manage the blessing that you have that's coming for me. And we don't even have to talk about the propel stage. That's when we celebrate. That's when we see the fruit of our labor and you realize that everything that you've gone through up to this point was for a reason, bringing you to this moment, and you stand tall and you receive your accolades, knowing that you're ready to take this thing and do with it what needs to be done. Lisa said, loving the combo, dropping gems as usual. You can't attract what you aren't ready for. That message hit me at my core. Thank you, Brian. Absolutely. Absolutely. And one of the things that I said last week is, as much as I can, I want to make sure that I give you guys some actionable steps that you can take with you. So we're at that phase of the conversation where I just want to drop in a few things that can help you with your transformation, help you to move from where you are to where it is that you'd like to be. And it begins with awareness. You have to recognize that there's a need for change. There's something in you or something around you that needs to be different in order for you to get where you would like to go. That takes that introspection, that reflection to figure out what that is. So start with recognizing the need for change. And then you want to set clear, achievable goals. We've talked about SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and not realistic, but relevant and time bound. You set those goals that align with that introspection and what you figured out that needs to change. You have to create the plan to get there. You want to embrace learning and growth. Understand that everything that you want is on the other side of your comfort zone. You're going to have to move out of safety, move out of routine, move out of this is what I do and how I do it every single day because I'm just me. You have to move out of all of that and be willing to learn new ways of approaching life And new challenges are uncomfortable because you don't know as much about that space. So you have to have that growth mindset and understand that you're going to make some mistakes along the way. And every one of those mistakes is an opportunity to learn. And when you learn the lessons from that, you get closer to your goals. You want to cultivate resilience and persistence. When those things go wrong, when life knocks you over, when you're in that process of pruning and preparing and pacing, you keep going. You keep doing the next best thing. You may have 100 things on your to-do list, but you have to prioritize that list and say, what's the most important? What's the most impactful thing that I can do? And you do just that one thing. And when you've been successful with that, you go back to your list and you ask yourself the same question again. What's the most important, the most impactful thing that I can do? And you do that over and over again until you arrive at your destiny, the destination that was carved out specifically for you. And then you want to reflect and you want to adjust regularly. Why? Just like I said about my vision board, there's some things on there now that have been on there for a couple of years that are not as important to me. But I could still be running really hard towards those things because they were a part of my vision a couple of years ago. And then when I get them, go, did all this hard work. And now what I have, instead of being excited about the new car, I'm frustrated about the monthly note, because that's where I am in life. I want to be able to retire well. I want to be able to put my feet up. I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to spoil those grandbabies of mine beyond words. And in order for that to happen, I have to make good choices right now. So reflect and adjust regularly so that you are moving towards the things that are still really, really important and relevant to you. And don't get down on yourself when it changes. You're changing all the time, right? It's just a part of the process. So those are the things I wanted to share. Recognize the need for change, set clear, achievable goals, embrace learning and growth, cultivate resilience and persistence, and reflect and adjust regularly. And as you're doing all of those things, ensure that your focus is on that inner circle, because that is the only place where you can truly affect change. Putting all of your energy and being worried about the things outside of that circle is wasting your resources, because you can absolutely do nothing about them. So I'm going to leave you with the quote and then we'll close for today. We will be back here tomorrow, 7:15 a.m. Central, for Wake Up Wednesday, where we will talk about the power of being intentional. I hope you guys have gotten your copy of Soar. Soar, the book, as well as the challenge that we just went through, changed lives. I knew in my spirit that it would. I knew it was given to me for a purpose that was bigger than me. And I have heard your feedback and I am overwhelmed by what God has done through me. I didn't do any of it. The only thing I can say that I did was to say yes and to do what he asked me to do in those moments. And so if you haven't gotten your copy, you can go out to Amazon. It's available digitally, paperback, as well as hardcover. And there's an associated workbook, the SOAR workbook. It has a place for you to do all of your reflection, to create your plan for your life, place where you can document everything as you're walking through the phases of SOAR: strengths, overcoming obstacles, achieving goals, and building a resilient mindset. The S is identifying your strengths. It all starts with knowing you. And once you're really clear about that, then we can start dealing with those self-limiting beliefs. Once we've got those out of the way, now you're in a position, you are ready to set good goals for yourself, and not just to set them because those are dreams, but to actually implement them. And then we build this resilient mindset so that you can continue to move towards your destiny and actually create the life that was designed specifically for you. So go out to Amazon. You can search for Soar Beyond Limits, or you can search on my name and you'll see both the book and the workbook there. Quite a few people. I'm very proud of how many people have gotten it, but I don't want you to miss out on this blessing. It was written for you. What you get out of it will be completely different than what your neighbor would get out of it, because we're at different places in our lives. We've had different experiences. And that's what I love about SOAR, is it's personal. It's personal to you, and you'll get from it exactly what you need to affect the change in your life that you've been dreaming for. If you missed the SOAR challenge, we will be pulling the recordings together, and we'll set up a self-paced online course that you'll be able to get shortly. And then we'll do the challenge itself again in the June, July timeframe. So you haven't missed out. Your opportunity will come. Everything happens when it's supposed to happen. So don't feel bad if you missed the first round. It was amazing, but your time is coming, and we'll keep you posted as we schedule new SOAR events. So with that, we are going to close our time together today. Let me remind you of the quote. It's one that I love. Incredible change happens in your life when you decide to take control of what you do have power over, instead of craving control over what you don't. Thank you, Steve Maraboli, for that quote. It's a powerful one. So we will see you guys back here tomorrow, 7:15 a.m. Central, for Wake Up
Thank you for
Wednesday.
joining us today. Make sure you join us every week, Tuesday through Friday, 7:15 a.m. Central Time, for the Cassandra Terry Morning Show. For advertising or sponsorship questions, reach out to Cassandra or any member of the FAM Collective on their LinkedIn profiles.